The following podcast contains spoilers.
Hey, it's Joe Bunzerelly.
Man, we had a lot to talk about in this episode. Bob is back, and we're talking about Chapter 9 of The Mandalorian, The Convert.
This is the Bunzerelly Show.
What they're doing is, like, you know, when you watch the sequels, there's like this big range of like this big gap, and all of a sudden you have a New Republic and you have a First Order that rose from the ashes of the Empire. So it's just like, boom, you're there. So you missed that 30-year gap. So this is 10 years after Return of the Jedi. So what they're doing is they're kind of like setting the stage to explain the stuff that's going to come, because that stuff's coming. You can't just, like, good or bad.
Yeah.
But you gotta, and not even, I realized it again when I was watching it, it's not even for the sake of the saga, but for the sake of this, because Ahsoka's coming out. They're kind of world building. They're going to have a lot of shows that take place in the time period.
Yeah, and they had to put a quick couple instructionals for people who aren't thinking of the movies at the moment.
Yes.
Because you're watching the shows and you know that they tie in with the movies.
Yeah.
But you're not necessarily following, thinking of those plot lines. And they actually did it very good. We're at the dinner party. The one guy, it was like me. The one guy is talking. He goes, "Oh yeah, the Empire, the New Republic, the Rebels. I can't keep it straight anymore." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks. Somebody else can't keep it. Oh, thanks, buddy. I'm with you." I'm like tipping my cup to him. But it was a good way. It was a good way of doing it, because just that one line was a refresher. Like, oh yeah, it was the Empire. And then I always have to do the thing like, okay, which timeline am I in? And my go-to is, how old is Luke right now?
Yeah.
And that's how I remember where I'm at. Like, oh wait, we just seen Luke, and he was young Luke, but he was post everything, those movies. So it puts me in the right movie frame of mind. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's right. Empire is done. New Republic or New Order? New Republic, or which one was it? I think it's New Republic.
It's the New Republic.
Yeah, New Republic is the Empire replacement.
Yes.
And I don't know why the guy said or Rebels. I think that was making a point to where, like, it showed how your average person doesn't even know what side they're supposed to be on, because if you're not in the war, you don't maybe necessarily know which one's the good or the bad if stuff isn't affecting you directly. You know what I mean? So they don't know, like, oh, they said the rebels were bad, but then it turns out the rebels are good. And because of the rebels, now instead of the evil empire, we have the New Republic, where a layperson at a dinner party, nothing changed for them. Maybe they don't even know. They just know, oh, make sure you don't talk badly about this particular group.
Well, even when they were talking about breaking down the ships, they were like, oh, we also got like the Alliance stuff, the Rebel Alliance stuff we're decommissioning because the war is over. Now, it's funny because in like the prequels, they show how like the government was so bloated and pompous that everything kind of slipped through their fingers, and even the Jedi were so bloated and pompous.
Yeah.
So what's happening, they're setting the stage for now, is this New Republic is a little bloated and pompous.
Yeah.
And they're not like, oh, let's just destroy and they're not kind of paying attention to the little things. Even this this officer, forgot her name.
I got it right in front of me. It is Elia Kane.
Yeah. Even like, what is she doing? And she's able to sneak around making this stuff happen, but it's also like, who's she answering to? How are they starting to still infiltrate stuff like on a bigger scale?
Right off the bat, see, and I wasn't sure. I love the when they do the recaps. I always watch the recaps. I watch shows with my kid too. I make her watch them with me, like even if we've been watching it, because it'll show you something from way back that you forgot about, that you're like, oh, okay, it's like a quick reminder. So I seen, okay, and you could tell by they didn't show a lot of her. I remember that she worked for, I want to say Gus, but the character Moff Gideon. I remember she was with Moff Gideon, and you could just tell by the look on her face and by the music that, okay, she was a bad character.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember much more than that. But before you tell me much more than that, because I want you to remind me of anything that she in particular did, if she did much. I don't remember if she did much.
I don't.
Okay, so there isn't much. But there was. What did? So when I seen her at that table, when the scientist goes and everyone's all nice to him, which was a cool thing, and they bring him over, like, oh, have some drinks with us, and it was a cool little thing where they showed like a behind the scenes of well, you got to think there's all these billions of people that make these Death Stars and do all these things for the Empire.
Yeah.
What are they doing now? So it's a little sneak peek into like, okay, and anyone who's had a job that's changed hands, it's still the same people. So you got these people that were working for this evil empire. It's still the bad guys. They're not going to lay off 1 billion people and rehire 1 billion people, So it's these same people, and they're like, they did the whole reprogramming thing.
Yeah,
or whatever.
amnesty program.
Yeah, the amnesty program, and they talked about that. But so that was very interesting, and it was cool. But I knew the second he recognized her that something was up.
Yeah.
That something was up. The second she was there, and they said, oh, there's so many people. What are the odds that he's passed her in the halls, and she went out of her way to be extra nice to him? She's waiting outside his room, and there didn't seem like there's any romantic intent. What was the purpose? She went very far out of her way to be nice to this guy. So I knew something was coming. But when it turned a lot more than I thought it was going to turn.
Yeah.
I thought she was just trying to like, all right, we're going to get this program up and running, not like we're going to really screw this guy over.
Yeah, and that made me wonder of her intent. I think the big significance of her, because like even like when they show you the flashback clip of her scene, I can't remember what that's from, like what that scene was. I remember her, but I don't think she was I think the big significance was she's part of Moff Gideon's crew. That was the big significance.
Who's Moff Gideon?
Moff Gideon is Giancarlo Expedito, Gus's character.
Yeah, but who is he answering to?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
What we know is with the sage that was set in The Mandalorian was like there's still fragmented parts of the Empire. And Moff Gideon's on this journey. Now it's out of The Mandalorian. Din Djarin himself is just kind of cruising through this world. So he's not so focused on it, whether it comes into play or not. But the thing is what was Moff Gideon working on? And even like the way the other guys talk about him, like, oh, you were on Moff Gideon's ship. So Moff is a title in Star Wars. Like there was Grand Moff Tarkin that blew up the Death Star.
Oh, okay. So that's like saying like corporal.
Or captain.
So
it's a Star Wars title.
Moff Gideon means Corporal Gideon or Captain Gideon.
Yes,
or,
exactly.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but there's other clues too, because when Bo-Katan, when her home gets blown up, and all of a sudden that bigger fleet of TIE interceptors is chasing them.
Yeah,
she's like, that's a big group for like a whatever captain or whatever warlord, like a washed up warlord kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like wow, these guys are more organized than we think. And I think that's a lot of what's going on with the New Republic. They're so busy trying to reorchestrate themselves, they're not really paying attention. Because 20 TIE fighters out by Mandalore, it's off their radar.
Oh, so it isn't so much. See, I'm watching it thinking like, okay, New Republic is turning into the Empire.
No.
When really it's, no, the Empire is coming back and the New Republic might have to deal with them.
The New
or it's not the New Republic. I just thought, the New Republic is just, they didn't turn the Empire over well enough, where maybe the New Republic has its quote unquote its own rebels, but their rebels are Empire people who are stuck believers of the Empire that want to stick with the that side of things.
Well, when you think of like how the sequel started, and there's like stormtroopers, like this new stormtrooper and the First Order, how it pretty much looks like the Empire. But it's like, how did this happen again? But now you kind of see how it could happen again. Like they could organize in little cells, and all of a sudden, just boom, they pop back.
Yeah.
But I got some theories about that too, like the big end game of this particular storyline. Because if the cloning stuff, right? First of all, I'm like, so did she just? Because I was watching it again, I'm like, did she get something specific? Because it wasn't his office; it was just a random lab.
Yeah,
so
that
like
threw me
notes.
too. It seemed like it was a random lab, and that's how she sold it. But the way that she backstabbed him just for this stuff, it wouldn't have been just for equipment. But his words were just like a lab like this. Like he didn't say like, "Oh, this is my lab."
Yeah.
So why did she wipe him just to get the equipment? I don't know if that was a mistake in the storyline. It didn't really make much sense.
Yeah, because what good's the equipment if you don't know what you're doing with it? Unless. Also, he's deleting files and schematics. Maybe she's already got his notes, and maybe that's the deal.
Ooh,
you know what I'm saying? Maybe he's
interesting.
And they said, I heard Moff Gideon escaped. Oh, I heard they wiped his mind. So nobody really knows what happened to Moff Gideon.
What happened? The last we seen him was the fight with the black saber, correct?
Yeah, and at the end,
how did that end? I don't remember.
At the end, Luke Skywalker comes in. He's about to put a gun to his face, and then
They
Cara
keep him from
Dune
killing himself.
elbows him and says, "You're going to jail. We're taking you in." So
so he's still around.
Yeah, he's around, but they said rumors like he escaped or whatever. But the cloning stuff leads to Palpatine. That's what we're thinking. Like the midichlorian count.
Yeah.
He's even explaining it down the stairs. Oh, yeah, but with this blood, all of a sudden it was able to take. So maybe whether it has to do with Force or not, but like.
They're setting up episodes 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah.
And now it's funny because usually it's like, I got to rewatch 4, 5, and 6 because this takes place after it.
Yeah.
I kind of need to rewatch 7, 8, and 9 because they're showing us all these. Let's set up those movies because it's that time frame. So let's fill in all those plot holes since we're here.
Yeah.
And it's like we're filling up plot holes for a storyline that I remember everything with Rey, and I remember the movies, and I remember those characters, but the politics of those last movies, I don't remember.
They didn't really delve into it too much.
Yeah.
They just said, there's a new Republic, and then they blew it up, and that was it.
Yeah,
So
and then we've seen that, obviously there's some Empire going on because they brought back Palpatine.
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah.
It was the last thing. But here's something I thought of they could do in the shorter game is because they didn't really kind of work out what Snoke was. And the theories is that Snoke was a failed Palpatine clone. But you could
Which one's Snoke?
Snoke is the guy that Andy Serkis played. The one that was Kylo Ren's master
that
that cuts in
awesome.
half. And Andy Serkis will do some Star Wars. So it's like...
He wasn't in the movies. He was in the last show. He was in Andor.
No, but Andy Serkis played Snoke. He voice acted him like he did Gollum.
Oh, not okay. So a different Andy Serkis.
No, same Andy Serkis.
No, I mean a different
Andy Serkis
different character.
Yes,
that he played.
yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So you could set up Snoke and actually have him for a while because Snoke was cool.
Yeah.
And you're not spoiling the Palpatine thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because Snoke, everybody knew about Snoke. So you could bring in Snoke sooner than later. And it'd be cool. But that might be more of a Ahsoka thing. But really, because you're watching Mandalorian, you're like, they're getting in deep into stuff. But you kind of, if you're going to build this world, you got to kind of tell us where we are and keep it consistent. So you needed this pocket. Because you would say, like, they're really getting into this story, but it's not even about just Dr. Pershing's story. It's more like setting the stage. Like, let's explain to you exactly what the galaxy's doing right now.
Yeah, let's bring you back into Star Wars world before. Yeah, let's bring you back there. Yeah, because it was. I was like, man, this is a lot of storyline to get to this clone thing to where you could almost have done it in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Where you could have just been like, you could have just shown the backstabbing for the supplies.
Yeah.
But it was entertaining.
Yeah.
So I let it slide. But yeah, they were showing a lot of it. But I think it was refreshers for Empire versus Republic. And now somehow Mando's going to get involved in that. And that's where Grogu comes in. And that's how they're going to tie, that into Star Wars stuff is they're wanting Grogu for cloning still.
Yeah, well, he said, I got his blood. I got everything I need. Like Moff Gideon said that at the...
they did end up getting his blood.
Yeah, they said, I got his blood. I don't need him now. So they have his blood. They have this stuff. So they continue to work. Now, whether or not it's going to affect Mando directly, I don't know. It might affect the bigger picture. The idea that they were saying was they were going to make these shows, and all of a sudden they were going to culminate, almost like an MCU kind of thing.
Right.
Like this blood thing might be like the Thanos, like the big end game of all these shows happening.
Yeah. Maybe they're going to make a bunch of little mini stormtrooper Grogu's.
Yeah.
Be an army of Grogu stormtroopers that are a foot tall.
I think Snoke is like the failed clone. I think Snoke is because they made some effect of like it was cloning and Sith magic kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm looking at pictures of Snoke now and I'm remembering him.
Yeah.
And he was pretty cool.
Yeah. I think something's going to happen when maybe you'll see the like Palpatine's ghost trying to possess Snoke and it doesn't work, so they just have Snoke and they make use of him. I'm not exactly sure, but that's some of the theories going around.
A little off topic, but Palpatine coming back in those movies was weird.
It was weird. The reason why it was weird is because the first movie was great. Like the first movie, I was like so excited.
Hold on, the first of the new.
Yeah, Force Awakens was awesome.
Yes.
Like Finn was awesome. Like that was an original storyline.
That was a great. Yeah, that was great. It was
And
like,
their
oh, cool. Let's
chemistry.
see. Yeah, let's see a storm. Yeah, I liked everything. The traitor.
Yeah.
That whole thing. Yeah, that was a great movie. I want to watch that again now.
Yeah, Kylo Ren was awesome. Oh, we'll do a revisit on the whole
Yeah,
thing.
Kylo Ren was awesome, and yeah, and coming at it from and we were kids before when the originals came out, and now to be adults and seeing the kids of the adults, and them being little brats running the show, and it's like something that we could, something we could kind of appreciate now as parents.
Oh, Kylo Ren with like the weight of his grandfather being Darth Vader, like that kind of. It's really like being obsessed with it. Like it's something you could believe.
Yeah, exactly. What shoes to fill. Yeah.
The other cool stuff going on, even though it was like such a short period of time, of course, was the stuff with Bo-Katan and the Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, they came back to that. I forget if the episode started with that, and then it switched, and then it came back to that.
Yeah, it kind of bookended. The first part was her castle getting blown up, and then the ends with them going back to the covert.
Now you tell me, what's this? Why did she not tell him about the monster? And here's the next question too.
Okay.
I know the monster was part of the lore.
Yes.
Okay, the monster in the water, when the
mythosaur.
The mythosaur, when he's bathing in the seas of whatever.
Yeah.
And there's the mythosaur in there. Was that part of the original lore, or was that part of the lore of the curse that turns out to be BS? I forget what the lore was with the mythosaur.
The curse is supposed to be either the curse or just the Empire bombing the place. Is just they thought it was uninhabitable,
right?
And Din Djarin's covert believed it was also cursed because when Bo-Katan's family or even different families kind of ran Mandalore, they strayed away from the way.
Right.
They got a little looser, like having their helmets off and maybe other stuff too. And so they say it's like even like the Empire bombing was a failure of all of it. It was just like a failure of Mandalore. So they went back to almost like the Orthodox Mandalore. Like we're strict Mandalore.
Yeah, which are the ones like in the cave. That cave is filled with Mandalorians but like as in Mando, like the character Din Djarin.
Yeah, the Children of the Watch.
Din Djarin, Children of the Watch.
Yeah.
The Orthodox, like you said, that's his faction in that cave. Correct?
Yes.
They're all equal to him in their beliefs and such.
Yeah.
Okay, now, are you with me still after all this? Because I'm from the beginning thinking that the Armorer is up to something with Din Djarin and doesn't really have Din Djarin's back. I don't know why, but I just don't. And everything like bringing the waters back and even doing the convert, how they said you're the one that didn't believe.
Yeah.
Even she's okay now because she bathed in the waters to save him.
Yeah.
I even feel like that's setting her up for something because now that she's one of them again, tell me if I'm wrong, she could potentially do something against their creed and get herself in a lot of trouble. Like there might be things punishable by death that her as an outsider would have just been murder, but now that she's one of them again, now she has to live by their rules. I feel like she's being set up. You know who I'm talking about? The girl in the blue.
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
I feel like Bo-Katan is being. I think the Armorer doesn't have Din Djarin's. I don't know if she's on his side, and I feel like she's setting up Bo-Katan. I don't know why.
I think she was legit because she didn't even argue with Bo-Katan because I was waiting for her to throw some stuff in Bo-Katan's face.
Yeah.
But she was very open arms with her. I think the stuff is what's going on with Bo-Katan because she's in a weird spot right now because her original, like her new order of Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Or newer.
Her squad. Her
squad just like bailed on her, right? And then she's sitting in that castle by herself just in defeat. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you have not only do you have the thing like I think it's a combination of things because you got welcomed by the covert, and even though she thought it was all hokey BS, she saw the mythosaur. So she's like because that's the thing. You don't see a reaction from her, even when they all say this is the way. She doesn't say it. But she's a little overwhelmed by what's going on, but she's also looking at the mythosaur. So I think...
you're making a good point.
I think in Bo-Katan's head, she's like, I think maybe I was wrong about all this. Meanwhile, I got something. I got some kind of tie to my roots, which I would have rejected, except I saw the mythosaur.
So the armor, I'm thinking, because when you're watching the show, there's a reason for everything.
Yeah.
So the way I'm looking at it, because I have my little stupid theory about this armor, is that, she's doing something to Bo-Katan. That's why they did that, where she welcomed her in.
Yeah.
Where it really might just be, no, this is just how they got Bo-Katan back in. Now, Bo-Katan has that black sword, right?
No, it's Din Djarin's. She grabbed it, but she gave it back to him.
Okay, so Din Djarin has the sword.
The Darksaber.
The Darksaber.
Yeah.
she was welcomed back. She definitely seems like she'd be a good head of it.
Yeah.
Din Djarin doesn't want it. Oh, we still got the theory that Grogu might end up with it. But someone's got to fight Din Djarin for it. Unless Din Djarin dies, Grogu and one of them grabs it.
Because if you remember that bigger Mandalorian, the one actually voiced by Jon Favreau, he dueled him in Book of Boba Fett. Remember? That's how the whole thing started.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Have you removed your helmet?" That's how he got.
Oh, I got something, Joe.
Okay.
How does someone take... So right now, Din Djarin's got the black saber, correct?
Yes.
Din Djarin doesn't want the black saber.
Yeah.
So
The dark saber, sorry.
The dark saber, sorry.
Keep our street
The
cred.
dark saber, yeah. They're going to pull our card.
Yeah.
So how is it going to get in either Grogu's or Bo-Katan's hands? This is how. The armorer or someone for the armorer defeats Din Djarin to get the sword. And now a bad guy has the sword. And now Grogu or Bo-Katan
Yes.
can
That's how
get
it would. That's how it would change hands. Yes.
Yeah, that's how it could change hands. Now, do they have to beat Din Djarin or kill Din Djarin?
No, just beat. That's how because he won it fair and
So
square.
if you're
from
like
Moff Gideon.
unconscious and the thing's like on the floor next to you,
Yeah.
the other guy could take it and they have it.
But like he beat Moff Gideon. Moff Gideon yielded.
He yielded.
Yeah, but he beat Moff Gideon in battle.
Can he just yield it? Like, man,
he tried.
I just give up.
He tried. Remember, he tried to just give it to her. He tried to give it to Bo-Katan. He goes, "I don't want it." He just went up there to get Grogu, but now he has it. And then
And she said that doesn't count.
Yeah, and
like
he goes,
you can't just like you have to do it in battle.
And she couldn't even stab him in the back because she knows he'll just give it to him.
Yeah.
So she can't flip.
So someone, I think, because if Din Djarin's not going to be the one that ends up with it, because that's a storyline that's going.
Yes.
Is we're looking to see who's going to end up with this sword.
Yeah.
Where it isn't the main storyline, but it's a storyline. I like the idea of Grogu. You said this last episode, right? It was your theory that
Grogu, maybe.
Grogu is going to be the one that ends up with it.
Yeah.
That would tie everything together. That's why it would explain the two storylines coming. You know what I mean? It would bring the storylines together very well.
Yeah.
I like Bo-Katan with it though.
Oh, I had a
Bo-Katan could talk to everybody. Grogu can't talk to everybody.
Yeah, and Bo-Katan also. Well, the other thing is if Din Djarin, if there's seeds of a romantic thing, which I haven't really seen much of, but maybe,
I haven't seen it. It's possible. It's early.
But they could rule side by side, even if he has the sword. You know what I'm saying? Or he would just,
Like a king and queen situation.
Yeah, but maybe, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what she's just kind of just finding her situation, so I don't really think she has a goal right now.
Yeah.
There's a reason. We don't know the reason why she's not telling anybody about the mythosaur.
She doesn't have a goal right now, but they bombed her. I don't want to say church, but it's basically her church. That thing she was living in.
Her castle.
Her
yeah.
castle. Thank you. Her castle, which was like a big Mandalorian thing, right? That was like a Mandalorian, like historical.
Yes, it was a Mandalorian like outpost, I believe.
Yeah, it was something to where it held value.
Yes.
For. So,
especially because Mandalore is destroyed, so you're taking away the last pieces of Mandalore. You know what I mean?
I really like the whole the whole Bo-Katan storyline that's going on.
Yeah,
I wasn't a huge fan of it because not that I was against it. I just didn't watch the cartoons or whatever the in between show was, so I didn't know the character very well. But I'm starting to get very interested in the character now, and I think that character's cool. And I like where it's going. Like her sitting, I made jokes, her sitting on that chair. And it was funny, they go back and she's still sitting in that darn chair.
Yeah.
Just doing nothing, hanging out.
Yeah. Chair's
stone
gone.
Things. Yeah. Now the chair's gone. Now they ruined her home. She's got nowhere to sit. I guess there's no rock benches anywhere for her to just sit all day and be sad. But I like they're setting it all up for she's got the outsider perspective where she's out of the cult of the Mandalore or whatever you want to call it. So she's got that, but now she sees like the and I know I'm going in circles.
That's okay.
But she sees, the mythosaur, and she's seeing, and you see her even with the mask on. They're real good. Another thing with the show, they are very good with body language in this show.
Yeah.
To be in masks and to look, and they look at each other, and you could tell like there's body language. It's just the way that they look at each other, and and you see how like she like the respect that she has for him and for his beliefs. So now she takes her outside world knowledge to where it isn't just that she's drinking a fruit punch or drinking a Kool-Aid, but to see her coming with her outside perspective and bringing it back to rule the Mandalore with, I could see that being, And then we don't. Do we see any Mandalorians in the next movies in 7, 8, 9?
No.
There's no
So it's
Mandalorians,
still,
right?
But there is a big galaxy, so it is very
Yeah, they're
well
still
they could
there.
they could go hole up somewhere.
But there's nothing. There's no storyline they're catching up to.
No.
that I'm forgetting.
No.
Okay, so anything could happen.
Yeah, like the Republic stuff is just more or less like we know the end of this road, even though we're 20 years away, but we're just saying we're headed towards this road.
Yeah.
But you know what I like the best about you said about the expressions?
Yeah.
That scene again where all the Mandalorians are patting them on the back.
Yes, that
What
was
happens is
great.
A guy
you could
walks,
see in her you could see like her. Yeah, you see like her appreciation of it or something.
No, what happened was they cut to her. The way they cut the camera, like you said, you could barely see the expression, but a guy
Yeah.
starts to walk in front of her, and then you see the mythosaur skull, and you could see the guy walks past the skull, so you could tell that's her line of sight.
Yeah.
That she's looking right at the skull as she's looking around.
That
She's
picture
like,
on the wall, yeah.
she's like, whoa, I'm back deep in the game here. Like, this is, I'm
Yeah.
in old school Mandalore, which is,
I'm there, and I know there's truth to it.
yeah, and like it or not,
That
it's her
makes it-
heritage.
Yeah.
Like the armorer said, your ancestors, like this is your heritage.
Oh, no, I forget. And if you've already answered me, I asked it, or I meant to ask it. What was the purpose of her not telling him she saw the mythosaur?
That's what we don't know.
Okay, we don't know yet.
Yeah, but she asked him.
You have
she
a theory?
Either she's overwhelmed by it, or maybe in the back of her head she thinks it's something she could use to her advantage, which I don't understand.
No, I don't feel any deceptive.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Thing
Or
in
she's
there.
just like,
Maybe it was just too big of a thing. It's like saying you've seen Santa Claus.
I think she's
that's what it is.
processing it. Maybe
She's
might
processing. Maybe she wants to. It's too much before she tells him, and he goes, "Oh, well, that means blah blah blah," and him just say something. She's like, "No, there's something. What's this? What's the real reason?"
Yeah.
She's trying to, wrap mind around it before she hears his obvious Mandalorian reaction, like, "Oh, because that's the way." It's like, "Well, no, not
Yeah.
the way, but what the hell? It's a big monster."
Yeah, I think maybe she's just trying to process it herself.
Do you see some deceptive? Because you said that a couple times. Do you see something deceptive in Bo-Katan?
I don't, because she could have easily. She could have taken the Darksaber a bunch of times. Like the Darksaber was on the ground. Okay,
Yeah.
So if you say the first time on the ship, there's two other of her group of Mandalorians behind her.
I remember I remember the three.
Yeah.
And I don't remember, and the two bailed on her.
But
They
what I'm
didn't really
saying
say
is-
why, but they bailed on her.
But what I'm saying is this: Din tries to hand her the sword,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and the other two were there, and she says no. That being said, there's no witnesses when Bo-Katan, Din Djarin would have died, okay,
Yeah.
with that stuff hooked up to him. She could have easily taken the sword and said, "I beat him in battle," and nobody would have known. So it's not about the witnesses. I think it's really about because in
But I never even thought, that never even occurred to me that she'd do that. She was helping out a buddy.
no, I'm saying she could have.
Oh yeah,
if she had,
So
if-
that's
That was her
going up
shot.
to the story to where we think that she isn't. But there's nothing to lead you believe that she is.
No, there's nothing to believe that there's anything.
Yeah, I
I
don't think
I
so.
think she's becoming a character, which is good storytelling, like The Sopranos or something else. Like you
Yeah.
have now, all of a sudden, we're talking about another character. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We're talking about this person, what their objectives, what's going on with these different,
Yeah.
which is cool.
She's independent thinker.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything anti.
No.
I don't think there's anything. I don't think she has they never even said. I don't think she has some. Ulterior motive?
No.
I don't think there's any ulterior motive.
I think she's defeated. She's defeated, lost, and miserable. But I think the seeing of the mythosaur sparks something.
Yeah.
And the being taken into cover is just.
she
where else-
wanted to get out of there too. She
Yeah.
just wanted out of that cave.
Yeah.
You know what? I bet next episode she tells him, like, "Hey, just so you know, I seen the mythosaur down there."
Well, in the trailers, they show, like, when they just show, like, random shots,
Yeah.
they show a bunch of Mandalorians, like, dropping down on something.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell what it was. But now that I'm thinking about it, because it's Beskar mines, okay? Like, all this stuff, he gets a little bit of Beskar. All of a sudden, he gets a big thing of Beskar, and they're making a suit of armor.
I'm sorry. Oh,
That's
the
what their
metal.
armor's-
The metal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if that's a Beskar mine, they're going back. Now that Din Djarin's discovered it's inhabitable, they're
Yeah.
going to go back like, yo, we got to go, let's go mine to Beskar. Let's make some
Yeah.
more suits. And they're going to find out other stuff that's going on in that planet. Maybe there's some Mandalorians hidden on that planet.
Ooh, I got something. Why would they go through this whole curse? Why would they say it's toxic? Why are there other people there? Did somebody sell out and they're selling this expensive metal elsewhere. Like they're gonna find New Republic people on the other side of this planet with Tonka trucks taking out all the metal. Which, by the way, kind of taking the storyline from Marvel Wakanda with the what's there? I want to say
Vibranium.
Vibranium.
Yeah.
So we got our vibranium. In the Mandalorian.
Star Wars vibranium.
Star Wars vibranium. Yeah. What's it called again in Star Wars?
Beskar.
Beskar. That's the metal.
That's the battle. Yeah.
Okay. And that one stick they got.
That was Beskar.
Beskar.
That's why when the ship blew up, it survived because Boba goes. Speaking of Boba,
I'm thinking of the Boba episodes. I'm thinking this show's awesome. There's so many cool storylines going on with it, and we haven't seen Boba yet.
well, I got something about Boba that popped in my head too because obviously we say we want Boba back in the fold. Now think about this: we had the book of Boba Fett, explored Boba, right? It's just that crime thing. That's going to get kind of stale pretty quick, right?
Yeah.
Now think about this. Either something happens with the crime thing or he opens up something. But Boba's whole thing with becoming a crime lord, if something happens, which could easily happen running a crime organization like that and stuff falls apart,
Yeah.
Boba could go just to help Din Djarin and kind of get wrapped in that stuff too. Because Boba could jump in that pool.
Yeah.
And we all like Boba with his helmet on.
Oh, Boba comes to help him out.
Yeah.
He's got to go in the water because Din Djarin keeps falling into it because he's clumsy.
Because Boba's whole thing was you got to have a clan. Like Boba didn't like being by himself anymore. That's why he did his crime. So
Yeah.
if something happens where it's like even like his family stabs him in the back or his thing falls apart in Tatooine, he might be looking for purpose. Or it doesn't have to, but he might find a new purpose.
Yeah.
Because his father was a foundling.
And I don't hold the whole crime thing against Boba because
No.
I think of back to like how like we've had this conversation before, like Italian mafia became from a somewhat okay place, but then it just turned into straight crime.
Yeah.
I think of that with Boba to where, he took over a crime thing, but it was more him taking over the spot and keeping other crime things.
Yeah, just
away.
taking care of his town and
Yeah.
making a family and making his thing. But I think his whole thing was a family and like a purpose. But
I think Boba's worked his way out of crime boss and into just running the town.
And especially because this all started because of the popularity of Boba Fett and his costume.
Yeah.
He was the first. So to bring
It was a Boba Fett show, and they says, well, we can't just take the character. Let's do a different Mandalorian.
Yeah, but it's like you can't leave Boba in a corner.
Yeah.
Nobody leaves Boba in a corner.
Yeah. You think we're gonna see him soon?
I can't imagine not seeing him. I can't imagine.
How many episodes we got?
I think there's like
We're 3 in. We're on number 3.
we're less than halfway.
We're less than
It's
halfway?
like, I think it's like 8 or 9 or 10. It's something like it's not a lot, but we're not even halfway yet.
I'm looking forward to the next episode because I enjoyed this episode and the storyline with the scientist and with the one girl that ended up backstabbing him.
Yeah.
Was interesting and it was entertaining. But just like with Boba when they did the Mandalorian episode, it was like, yeah, it was great, but I want to see Boba.
Yeah.
And now I'm at the point where like, okay, that storyline was cool. We got to see the backstory of this scientist.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And it was interesting. But get me back to I want to get in that cave and I want to see what Bo-Katan tells Mando about that monster.
Yeah.
I want to see the armor. I want to see the armor thing if I have anything how do I say it? If there's anything to my theory about this armor being a bad person.
Yeah, get more into her head kind
I
of thing.
think this next episode is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, awesome season, awesome episode, and looking forward to next week. And we'll be there. I want to thank Bob. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, buddy.
And we will see you guys.